In 1969, a young psychologist named Daniel Kahneman watched experts make simple, systematic mistakes, leading to a profound realization: human irrationality is predictable.
Just let that sink in for a moment. We usually think our mistakes are random, right? Just little slip-ups, moments of carelessness. But Kahneman saw something else entirely. He saw a pattern, a blueprint for error that's actually hardwired into our minds. And that one single observation, it sparked a revolution in how we understand ourselves.
And that really is the million-dollar question we're going to tackle. How can our mistakes, something that feels so random and chaotic, actually follow a set of rules? This question became Kahneman's life's work, and the answer he came up with is a system that can absolutely change the way you make every decision. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at the exact flaw Kahneman spotted in even the smartest people. Then we'll dig into how his chaotic early life shaped his unique way of thinking. After that, we'll break down his huge idea, the two minds inside all of us, and explore the practical system he built to fight our own egos. We'll follow his journey to a Nobel Prize, and then we'll land on the single greatest decision you can make to upgrade your own thinking. All right, let's go back to that key moment in 1969. Kahneman and his partner, the brilliant Amos Tversky, weren't just studying college kids. No, they were in rooms with seasoned pros, people whose entire jobs were based on making rational judgments. They were expecting to see pure logic in action, but what they actually saw was really unsettling. What that really means is staggering. We're talking about statisticians, okay? People who are trained to live and breathe objective data. It's like this. You show a top stock analyst hard data saying a company is going to lose money for 5 years straight. But then you tell them a really good story about a visionary CEO and some crazy new product. Kahneman found that the story, the narrative that just feels right, would make them toss the hard numbers right out the window. A good story consistently beat good data. And this wasn't just a bug. It was a feature of the human mind. For Kahneman, this wasn't just some academic puzzle. It was the beginning of a mission to figure out the very machine of human error. But to get how Kahneman built a system to fight this, you have to understand the man himself. I mean, his deeply skeptical worldview wasn't born in some quiet university library. It was forged in the fire of real-world chaos. As a Jewish kid in Nazi-occupied Paris, he saw the terrifying power of mass delusion up close. He saw how whole countries could be swept up by powerful, completely irrational stories. This wasn't a theory in a book. It was his scary daily reality. Then, later, in the Israeli Defense Forces, he had a critical job: figuring out who would make a good officer. He watched senior commanders make calls based on a candidate's confident swagger or firm handshake, their gut feeling. But he saw that these gut feelings were often totally wrong. So what'd he do? He built a simple, objective scoring system, no intuition allowed. The result? His little formula consistently crushed the so-called expert intuition of seasoned officers. Why? Because the data didn't have an ego. And that, right there, is the foundation of his entire philosophy. These experiences taught him a huge lesson. Being confident and being an expert doesn't mean you're right. The only way to get to the truth was through tough, systematic analysis, and this is the most important part, the humility to admit that your gut, and even an expert's gut, can be spectacularly wrong. So all these early lessons about just how unreliable our intuition is, they were all leading somewhere. After years of seeing these same mistakes over and over, Kahneman had his big breakthrough. He realized our mind isn't one single thing. Nope, it's more like a constant battleground between two totally different ways of thinking, two systems that are always fighting for control. This is the core of everything, and it's such a great way to think about it. Imagine you've got two characters living in your head. First, there's the storyteller. This is what Kahneman called System 1. It's your gut reaction, it's fast, it's emotional, and its main job is to cook up quick, simple stories to make sense of the world, whether those stories are true or not. Then you've got your second character, the auditor. This is System 2. The auditor is slow, careful, logical, but, and this is key, it's fundamentally lazy. It's the total opposite of the storyteller. Okay, so System 1 is our autopilot. It's what lets you drive down an empty road or understand a simple sentence without really trying. It's the reason you can instantly recognize that someone's angry just by looking at their face. You don't think about it, it just happens. It's super efficient, using all these mental shortcuts to help us make thousands of tiny decisions every single day. But here's the problem.
Those shortcuts are prone to predictable mistakes and biases. System 1 is fast, but man, it is often wrong. System 2, on the other hand, is the heavy machinery. This is the part of your brain that you have to fire up when you're solving a tough math problem. We're trying to parallel park in a super tight spot. It's incredibly powerful, and it can catch the mistakes that System 1 makes. But there's a big catch. It takes effort. It burns mental energy, and our brains are hardwired to be efficient. So, System 2 is lazy. It would much rather just kick back and let System 1 run the show.
And here's the punchline to this whole thing. Our fast, automatic System 1 is an amazing storyteller. It creates a narrative that feels totally complete and makes perfect sense, giving us this powerful feeling of confidence. Kahneman called it the illusion of understanding. We feel like we get it, even when our so-called understanding is based on junk information. That ego, that unearned confidence, that is the #1 enemy of clear thinking.
So what do we do about it? This is where things get really practical. Kahneman didn't just point out the problem. He built a toolkit, a system of habits designed specifically to fight back against the ego of System 1. These are routines designed to force that lazy auditor, System 2, to wake up and get to work when it really matters. Let's start with one of his most powerful tools, the premortem. It's so brilliant and so simple. Okay, before you kick off a big project, you get the whole team in a room, but instead of asking, how do we make this a success, you say this: all right, everyone, let's imagine it's a year from now, and this project was a complete disaster, an absolute failure. Now everybody take 5 minutes and write down all the reasons why it failed. See what that does? It's a total game changer. Normally, everyone's trying to be optimistic. If you raise doubts, you look like you're not a team player. But the premortem flips the script. It shatters that groupthink and makes it totally safe. In fact, it makes it your job to point out all the real risks. It's a trick to bypass our natural desire for things to go well.
The second big habit is about knowing when to trust your gut and when to tell it to take a hike. This table lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your gut feeling, right? It's based on feelings, stories, personal experience, and as we know, it's super prone to overconfidence and bias. It's fine for simple stuff, like picking what you want for lunch, but on the other side, you have a simple checklist or a formula. It's based on cold, hard data and historical facts. Its superpower is consistency and objectivity. Kahneman proved again and again that for big, high-stakes decisions, like hiring someone or making a big investment, a simple algorithm almost always beats an expert's gut feeling. It's not as exciting, but it's way more reliable. And his system has other defensive moves too. First, just being aware of your biases. That means actively asking, wait, am I only thinking this way because of something I just saw? Like, if you just saw a news report about a shark attack, you might suddenly think swimming in the ocean is super dangerous. That's the availability heuristic messing with you. Second, and this one's a biggie, is taking the outside view. This means you deliberately ignore how special and unique your situation feels, and you ask, what usually happens when other people are in this exact same spot? So if you're starting a new restaurant, your System 1 tells you this amazing story about your unique vision. The outside view forces you to look at the brutal data. What percentage of new restaurants fail in the first year? You trust the stats, the base rate, not the beautiful story your brain is telling you about why this time is different. Now let's pull back and look at the huge impact of all this. For decades, these ideas were kind of tucked away in the world of psychology, but they were so powerful, so fundamental, that they eventually broke out and started changing, well, everything. They turned Daniel Kahneman into one of the most important thinkers of our time. You can really see the whole story right here on this timeline. It starts in the chaos of the 1940s, which leads him to challenge experts in the 50s. Then comes the massive breakthrough of the two minds theory in the 70s, and it all culminates in 2002 when he, a psychologist, was awarded the Nobel Prize in economics. And that's why, for hundreds of years, the entire field of economics was built on one big idea, that people are rational. Kahneman and Tversky completely tore that idea apart. They proved our irrationality isn't just random noise, it's a predictable force. That single insight created the entire field of behavioral economics, and it's changed everything from finance to public policy by giving us a blueprint for making better judgments. That Nobel Prize in 2002 was the ultimate confirmation. It was the world's most prestigious group of thinkers basically saying, he's right. They were saying that understanding the flaws in our own thinking, the very architecture of our mistakes, is one of the most important intellectual achievements of our time. He didn't just win an award, he gave us a user's manual for our own brains.
So, we've gone from chaos to a Nobel-winning idea. But what does this all mean for you in your life right now? How do you actually put this to work? Well, that brings us to the final and most important piece of the puzzle.
This is it. This is the core takeaway. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to stop just blindly accepting the stories your mind feeds you. Your job is to become the skeptical, tough but fair auditor of your own thoughts. It means making the conscious choice to wake up that slow, lazy system too, especially when the stakes are high, when you feel way too confident, or when a decision just feels a little too easy.
Daniel Kahneman built his legacy on the truth that ego is the enemy of objectivity. The Kahneman System provides a systematic defense against our own flaws, proving that the ability to think slow is the ultimate power. It proves that the greatest leverage you have in life isn't about being smarter, it's about being aware of your own limits. And in the end, it all comes down to this single, immutable rule. Your greatest decision is knowing when to stop trusting your intuition.